History often glamorizes kings and queens with crowns, jewels and golden palaces, but behind the silk and perfume often hid something far less royal: the smell of decay. Today we'll uncover the top 7 royals who almost never bathed. And trust me, number 1 will shock you. Louis XIV, the Sun King of stench. Versailles glittered with gold and mirrors, but the palace reeked like a sewer. At its center was Louis XIV, the Sun King, who reportedly only bathed twice in his entire reign. He drowned himself in perfume and wore a layer upon layer of clothing that trapped sweat, bacteria, and rotting skin. His doctors claimed water was dangerous, so he avoided it even as sores split his skin. His stench was legendary. Servants fainted and foreign guests gagged in his presence. Versailles looked like heaven but smelled like hell. Peter the Great, modernizer, but not of hygiene. Peter the Great transformed Russia, building ships, cities, and armies. But when it came to personal hygiene, he remained medieval. He wore the same filthy clothes for weeks, sweating through battles, drunken feasts, and even surgeries he performed himself. His beard was greasy, his hair tangled, and his smell mix of vodka, gunpowder, and grave dirt. Diplomats fainted from the odor, and his court imitated him, turning Russia's nobility into a pit of filth. Elizabeth I, the masked stench of the Virgin. Queen Elizabeth I dazzled the world with her golden age, defeating the Spanish Armada and inspiring Shakespeare. But beneath her painted image lay decay. She bathed once a month whether she needed it or not. Her alabaster face was caked with toxic white lead makeup, layered over days of grime and sweat. Her wigs were powdered but unwashed, her gowns rarely cleaned. The closer you got to her, the stronger the stench of rotting skin beneath perfume. Her regal distance wasn't just formality, it was survival. Isabella of Castile, holiness. That reeked the queen who funded Columbus and united. Spain reportedly bathed only twice in her life, at birth and on her wedding day. She believed water corrupted the soul and invited disease. She wore heavy clothes for months without changing, trapping lice, fleas, and rashes against her skin. The stench was so overpowering that servants burned incense just to breathe around her. Her holiness didn't shine, it stank. King James I of England, the unwashed Bible king, the man behind the King James Bible, was terrified of water. He slept in his mud-caked boots, rarely removed his clothes, and doused himself in cheap cologne to mask the smell. His fingernails were packed with dirt, his hands permanently stained, and his breath was described as foul beyond measure. Also feared being touched, not just from paranoia, but because he knew proximity meant suffering his stench. Henry VIII, the rotting tyrant Henry VIII, famous for his 6 wives and brutal rule, hated bathing. Instead, he relied on perfumes, pomanders, and layers of rich clothing. As his health declined and his ulcerated legs oozed pus, the smell worsened. Imagine a massive sweating king, his wounds bleeding into filthy bandages, wrapped in jeweled fabrics reeking of decay, old wine, and unwashed flesh. His palaces stank of rot, barely masked by incense and perfume. Power made him untouchable, but his presence was an assault on the senses. Empress Elizabeth of Austria, beauty built on filth known as Sisi, Empress Elizabeth was a 19th century icon of beauty. Her hair demanded hours of brushing, her waist was singed to fairy tale proportions, and she obsessed over youth. But she feared baths, believing water sapped her strength. She reportedly bathed only once every few months, relying instead on perfumes and lotions. Her skin beneath remained untouched by true cleansing, making her legendary beauty a mask over fearful filth.